Well, I've got a couple of games to talk to you about. You've got a couple here that you mentioned as liking, and let me see if I can throw it up on the screen and see if you recognize one of these. How about this? You said that Speakeasy
Right.
Blues, is that right, TC
Oh
Petty?
yeah, of course. I mean, we were talking about best of Gen Con. You gotta go with Speakeasy Blues and Spell Smashers.
So,
But
so
yeah,
I,
Speakeasy Blues.
am I right? You did some development work. This BJ from Working Gumbo. I've got TC Petty here, TC Petty the third, who I think did some development work for Spell Smashers. Is that right?
That's true.
So
And
tell,
and
tell us
and
about the game.
well,
Wait,
I'll
that's
do the
not
one
Spell
that's up right
Smashers.
now. Yeah, but I just got you confused. So,
Okay.
Speakeasy Blues up on the screen. That is, it's a game about 1920s speakeasies during Prohibition era. Now, jazz is coming to the forefront, and you're going around trying to make the best speakeasy in like a fictional, well, not fictional, but like New York City, like New York
Sure.
City in the 1920s, right? And so there you run your speakeasy. You can have criminals and cops in your speakeasy. You can have well-known celebrities from the era. You can have start building a collection of like fine art and movies and all these things that happen from that time period, and start putting them up on the walls in your speakeasy. But basically, like from a standpoint of like gameplay, it's a 45 to 60 minute game for like
Oh,
four
wow.
players. It legitimately, I hadn't played it for like 6 months until the production copy came out. We played it at Gen Con, and 45 minutes, like straight up, like 45 minutes. I was super happy because getting development, any game to get to the actual time it says on the box is pretty good. So in the game, though, it's sort of a dice drafting system. There's going to be some dice that you seed the board with at the beginning, and then you'll have a pool off to the side. And on your turn, you're going to remove two dice from the board that are the same color, and then roll them and add them to the pool, and then place two dice of the same color onto the board. And each of those spots on the board has a different action or action type. So there's 6 different action spots on the board. So you can like add to your collection. You can pick up celebrities and put them into your speakeasy, cops, criminals. You can do favors. You can do favors for
Sure.
the cops and the underworld and the mob and stuff. Maybe there's a little bit more theme in there than needs to be, but like you can do those favors. And really at the end of the game, it's the person that has a combination of the best rep, the best collection of cool things, and in some cases, maybe even the most gangster favors that you've pulled off during the course of the game
So the
become
theme really comes out
speakeasy.
there.
Yeah. I mean, each part of it feels like it. I mean, from a standpoint of like gameplay, though, it's pretty easy to understand, and I think the theme just helps it like move along. But it's definitely there if you want to go deep into there, and each of those cards is like super cool and individual.
Where do you put it on the weight category? I have a lot of people from the Gateway and Filler Games group that like to watch the show. But where do you put it on that weight
Hmm.
category? A little bit more than a Gateway game, I'm
A
sure.
little bit more than a gateway game is perfect.
Okay.
Right,
Gateway
like this is like
Plus.
your second game that you would
Ah,
play, right? Like it's easy to understand. There's a little bit of like player interaction where you can like, I can take this from you, or I can use the criminals, or protect myself with cops. But other than that, like you pretty much are making a decision between 3 different colors and 2 different dice every turn, and you do that 10 times and the game's over. So I really can't say that it's too in depth. But
so I had
yeah,
Steph
come on.
Hodge from yeah, I had Steph Hodge from BGG on a couple of weeks ago. She mentioned this as one of her favorite games of a Gen Con. She really
Oh,
enjoyed it.
nice. That was
But
cool.
but we did, and you know what I'm going to talk about. We did have to talk about that cover art.
Well, here's the thing. Now, there are people out there that do not like smoking at all when it
Right.
comes to cover art. Is that, I'm assuming that's what it's about, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so my thing is this though, like 1920s, this is period perfect.
True.
And I'm not talking about like, oh, this is historically accurate. I'm talking about, this is freedom for women's first time that women are seeing the opportunity to do these things, and that smoking represents just a release, a way
Liberation.
to, yeah, the way to feel liberated in public. This could not have happened 10 years before that, right?
Good
It
point.
would not have happened.
Good
And
point,
so
TC.
as much as I do understand some people just do not like the idea of it because it kind of makes it look maybe cool. I hope that gamers can look at it and go, okay, I recognize that I don't like smoking, but I can still see this as a good product of its time and represents like that. I hope at least, right? But there was a lot of talk, and there was a lot of talk for and against it whenever we were developing the game. And for me, I knew it represents so much for me that maybe I can even take some responsibility for having that happen. But if you don't like it, I mean, that sucks. But at the same time, like, hopefully you'll understand where my position is. And
it's actually a game that I had on my list to play, so I'm going to try to get to it at BGG Con. So, and there's Chris Jane checking in. He says, "Hey, you can't have film noir without smoking."
That, I guess that's true. Okay, but at the same time, I don't think it's trying to specifically be noir, right? Because I don't think you need the smoking anymore. It's an old thing. But
Sure.
yeah, product of the time. I love it.